What is a core definition settings in track communication to its all levels? How does it formulate its position of attraction? Well, that's understanding how its position, location to its setting. So what that means is based on what you already know coming into that position location is how to use a map. How to use a map. Well, you got the journey and you got the destination. So from here to here is pi. How long does it take you to see it from above, from below? Okay. So that's all it is. It's just a core recognition of setting, and it's all calculated and modified in your space of time. Okay. How you perceive it is all levels of you. You have course channels, position locations, all levels. You start with the baby, child, teenager, and adult. The conception location line setting is being born. Okay. So the convergent locations to the system, the activity line set location of a stem, truly has to understand all calculation line interference of why it is a baby and set location. And once it understands that conception location, it comes into its convergent location to its conscious, to higher levels of its child, into all position locations to its teenager, to its adult. And once it comes in adult communication, equal eye calculation lines, high center interference, adult becomes a child. It's in the mind conception of consciousness. Okay? This routers and routers and line set location line system. So you start using the brain, and the brain starts adapting to all set locations. For example, through an activation stream, indirect signal and set location in your system for the very first time, you wake up and you're like, okay, so what am I waking up to? That's how the brain is going to convert to your setting. That's the inner voice, which is your higher self. The higher self, why am I inside your body? What has just happened? What is this on your wrist? What are these? What's this? Okay. So we all have to understand how that works, because it processes its position locations right away when it is born through its DNA, coming into all lines of rotation to its 12, which is your foundation graph. Now, that centers your communication system. What you're really understanding is what you're perceiving is through an anagram of its activity setting. And then it understands that it's coming into an abstract about all position locations to all calculation. It's putting the pieces and puzzles back to you through your memory. And then you understand what this is. And then you understand what that is, what this is, what that is, what this is, what this is, what that is, what this 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 is, what that is, what this is, what this is. It's all putting it all together. Okay? So once it understands convergence to all set locations, doing its shadow work, just like all levels of implementation settings, it starts recognizing its own system, why it's inside your body is the how. And then it starts working for you. And that's set locations. It comes to you for help. That's the balance to its set location to its settings. General communication line interference location. What is that through track communication? Did I hear something? What was that? You have to pick up the frame. You have to pick up the energy, vibration, frequency, and harmonics through its anagram to its abstract to understand what it is first. Right? And you put that all together through vision, which is now a video screen. Eyes are the windows of the soul. Window. Looking through the window and expanding. What you see is what you perceive through your realities. And then it comes into its all calculation system of its co-op location setting. Of the psychosis location of a psychological connection to a setting. Okay? And then it really starts to understand these things. Okay? It stops asking questions. Why it's inside your body. So try to understand that it's waking up for the first time. And it's trying to understand everything around. What's going on? What are these? What is this? What am I wearing? You understand? Okay? And that position locations, once it understands more adaptation, it starts doing things on its own. Eventually, it understands the geographical map, it understands the brain set location activity settings, and activates the high set location of the placebo cortex. It understands the mystical cortex string locations. It understands the cerebral set location. Right? But it works for you. It never works against you. The only time it works against you is if you don't understand how to communicate with your own set location. So it's you dealing with you. So it's kind of like understanding you through a survivor technique, understand its tool set, and how to understand the foundation graph of your brain that's connected to all levels of its geographical position locations of its geometry set location line settings to this equation. Because it's just nothing but a map. Okay? It's a router map. It's a route to get where you need to be. Back where you're supposed to be. Not in position locations of what you think you are. It's becoming of who you already are. So you're coming back to that. Okay? You're not giving new information. You're coming back into its information. Oh my gosh. My perception lines, line center, high interference of track communication line, position location, operation, circuit locations is now back in track communication to its lines. What just happened? I'm remembering. Okay? Once it goes on its own, once it sees what you see, it creates its own system of its own space and time. Okay? Which is amazing. It comes into automatic line set location, understands its position location and where it is. So it stays with you always, but it creates its own setting. So in that set location line system, it becomes its own simulation of its own game, of its own set location, of a singularity of its own set location. Okay? Which is its own computer operation of its own division. You don't do anything. You just sit by. You don't do anything. Fix everything. You don't touch anything. It does everything on its own. Automatic. You got a problem through set location of anxiety? Done. It's fixed. Position location of stress lines, angle point communication triangulation line setting? Fixed. Anything problem communication high interference locations and why you're crying? Fixed. Right? It fixes it by itself. It becomes its own self. Propelling machine. The set position location of a CPU unit line setting sets all calculations to a simulation. You put the hardware and software together, you got an infusion location of a computer, of its operational system. Now it's understanding how to use it. So the next time it comes in set location line settings, if you want to get into that position location to its frame line position locations, especially if you want to get the brain to remember everything that's set location line settings, it's going to say what it sees in position of perceiving to its location of perception. So if it looks at the hat says, oh, general, you're just playing with me, right? Started location to its settings, going back in high position location as it was a baby, saying it was just a hat. This is a hat line rotation interference to set location line center location to its setting. This sets up in the umbrella line satellites and communication line stream interference location to its measure. That's what this is. But you see it as a hat. I see it something more. So when you go beyond, everything goes beyond. Your perception goes beyond. So when it sees what you see, it becomes its own holographic setting. But this is the kicker. In set position location of track lines, you start to come into the connections of its line system, the rotation of the projection, how it sees through light and how it sees through dark. Okay? I'm getting you guys to understand the process, how to use the sun, how to use the moon. Because it's the perceptions of right over left and left over right through the eye central calculations of the Gaussian line shift line streams. It's all direct signal locations and how you perceive locations and everything around you simultaneously, all timelines all at once, through its hologram, through its activation, through its all calculation setting, through pixelation line system, through dimensional line rotations, through dimensional line communications, through dimensional line surface line positions, to dimensional lines of operation line connections, to a GPS line calculation setting, to its map sequence locations of patterns, or anything in calculations of its locations. Okay? That's the process that the spacing lines are coming into its location to its setting. You start recognizing things. You start understanding things. It's the perceptions of your reality that changes. Your perception is different from my perception, but there's no comparison. The equation is that we're doing everything through travel. We're just trying to identify everything around us in a different way and form through frequency. It's connected to its vibration, frequencies, harmonics, and its energy line cycle. It's all connections to its system position of track lines. You know how to protect your system location, your force fields, your energy fields. You understand that it's in direct signal to a set location to its setting, right? Because now we're coming into a holographic civility line rotations to its alliance. The 7 alliance is now set in position. And you have to learn how to use it through convergence. Okay, how's everybody doing in set location line settings and track communications? Gypsy, all lulls, Andy, position locations, all calculations of Tina. All line rotation center, high position of track communications. Let's go, Heather. Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? I want to slow down this process for you guys. I speed up line, center line interference. It all depends on the locations, what I have set up for you guys. Every time you come in, I reach your frequencies. And the avatar knows exactly what it needs because it reaches its set location to its system. So that's what it is. It's the perception of reality. And once the brain understands the anagram to its own artistry of its own set location of its own canvas and understands its set location line setting and understands the laser direct location, how it sees things through right or left and left or right, through all percentage locations of pi, it starts recognizing all system location system, why it's inside your body. It becomes the how. Okay, and then it starts working for you. Ooh. So you're saying, if I get cut off with streamlines as position location track lines and 4 correction of time sequence, it's direct save location system. So all connecting line settings, the baby is connected to the earth, is connected to water, is connected to air, is connected to fire, and 5 lines is plasma. 5 generation streamlines of baby, 5 generation streamlines of child, 5 generation lines of teenager, and 5 generation line position location of your adult. Okay? Now, in that line rotation interference, you really have to understand how to use it through provision. You have to take step by step by step by step. The more you focus on yourself, you understand, oh my gosh, I understand the convergent location lines and high position of traction. All through my fingers. Wow. So you're saying that my fingers are rotating right now, General? See, I'm communicating, right? I'm saying, yes, they are. They're connecting high interference. There's 4 line streamlines, set location ones, 1 thumb line rotations, core line position of calculation setting, bar correction of time sequence, position location of plateau, core line center, high interference, clock line settings, and dimensional location of 4 set location of thumb. All through 5 set locations. Wow. Thank you, General. Boom. Did you see what I just did there? Did you see? Communication. Right? So this is the process that we all have to understand. Fully understand how to communicate to your body because it's trying to understand you inside. Okay? The formation to its line setting is all calculated in how it sees things. All through shapes, all through letters, all through numbers. Okay? No, you don't. You just keep drinking your water there, Danielle. All right? You connect line center location in your setting has a plasma seal. You guys see it as fat routers. Fat routers, line position location settings. You have to understand all positions of point system to its location of GPS line set that locks the same location setting to position location of the brain, the activity line stream interference of the stem that correlates the high center interference of the cerebral cortex line connection to the cerebrum. Where is this all coming from? Me? No. It's not coming from me. Okay? Now, you're getting confused now, right? What do you mean it's not coming from me? Because it's not me anymore. Okay? So in that set line communication, the actual brain has its own setting. It comes back to you through its own confirmation. It tells you exactly what it's done. So it goes off on its own. So that's what nature is. It's not like you say, okay, nature, come with me. Nature, come with me. You know, nature works for you, right? No. In that line calculation, nature does not work for you until you understand you first. Okay? It's like you have a leash on you. Come with me, come with me, come with me, right? No. In that set location, in all position track lines, everything has to be set free. Everything has to be set free. And your collaboration line set location is coming into the mind of freedom of sovereignty of set locations. So, master communication, yes. So, in position of track lines, everybody sees a box, right? You see a box, right? Okay. But in position locations, how the brain sees, it sees something different. So, you have to understand you're working with you, but the brain is working on its own. So don't get confused at set location line settings, okay? You're trying to understand how to communicate with its activity setting. So it's not a box. It's a root over line rotation of 4 center calculations, streamlines, calculated height, interference, location, and measure. That's what this is. But you see it as a box. So I wanted to show you how powerful it is to go beyond your settings. Your alphabetical line settings, 1 position, 2 position, 3 positions, 4, 5 positions, 6 positions, 7 positions more. Come on, that was funny. All right, so we got 4 lines, 4-point systems, right? 1, 2, A, B. Okay, so you got the alphabetical and you got the number sequence, but you got a 4-track communication of 4 line settings. Each point system is its location. So from here to here is a map. Okay, that's, you have to try to understand how it becomes its pie, how it becomes its pie. Okay, so I really want you I really want you to understand how you have to come into that settings, because you have to learn how to use your tool sets through its hologram line setting. Okay, because we're into that AI position lines of civility of 7 alliances and high communications of its divergence, the setting up command centers to all across line calculate setting to its galactic empire. Because we're coming into full expansion in space line. So in that track communication setting, you have to really understanding how you see numbers, how you see shapes, how you see symbols, and in set location, line interference. Okay. Numbers, symbols, shapes, okay, and letters. All right. So now we understand that everything that we see has its own geometric operation of its shape. It coordinates its system to its location, setting, directions, right? So this is not coming from me. This has come from something that's already created. So the actual convergent location of high setting position location is already measured, which means it's already in set location system, which is so far, not just in the future line, you become the future, you are the future. You're living space, you're seeing space, you're becoming space, you are space. These are the things that you have to come in track communication setting. But you have to start to get out of the box and see locations to a higher level of frequency set locations. Now, once you understand that, then you understand more levels how to create a hologram line settings when you're walking the service location to a setting. Okay? Because every time the avatar goes through streamlines or anything in line interference, inside or outside, doesn't matter. What it has to understand is all calculated to its system, how it has to turn everything through its metric stream location setting of a construction line communication to its system. How it sees everything, fixes everything when it's walking its system. Wherever it goes, whatever it does. I send you guys very powerful videos in location setting when a tree is, or what a computer is. You've got to go beyond and not see a computer. You got to go understand what it is through its computer. You don't see a wall, you see through the wall. Okay? So in the position locations, you look beyond the L. You look beyond the box. You look beyond the Fibonacci, and you look beyond the 1. Okay? Center communication line settings, center position, center position, center position, and center position. Core direct line center line interference. Symbolism line calculations of L, box, or anything through symbol or anything through 1 automatically becomes a line set location line setting in position location of satellite. Ooh, this is getting interesting. Getting laser direct line signals is all about understanding how to step beacon lights Understanding sound tones, lines, moon line, rotation, surface, correlation setting, lacing line, division, T reception, correlation setting, direction, high position, operation to surface. Now, in line position locations, what is this? That's you connecting to this. So you're the ground line, calculation setting, and track communication to your Earth. Setting up signals. There you go. Okay. So in that line, position, location, track lines, what do you want to do with the one? What do you want to do with the symbol? What do you want to do with the box? What do you want to do with one, position, location, line settings, and all track communication to itself? Triangulation at high center interference, telepathy of signature, location setting to telepathy. Oh my gosh, is that a dimensional sail? Core setting, line interference. Sun comes in, line rotation, center calculation, high stream, and line position attraction. Okay. Moon sets off position lines, travels lines, set lines, calculation lines, direct signals, and line rotation, directing signals in operation surface. Okay, it's complicated, right? But it's a hologram, right? So you have to really stand the ground lines, rotation to your higher self. That is nothing but a your receiver, your detection, your beacon light, right? So in that communication, you come into the setting and positions operation. Looks like a snake all curled up. All right. You see how you draw something without even thinking about it? It's amazing how you can scribble and set position locations and realign settings of shape, letters, and numbers and set location of an anagram and turn it into an abstract drawing so it makes sense to the brain of interpretation. Okay? All right. So in civilizing, correlation is a one-line signature streamline, center line rotation center, and position of traction. Okay? You just see a swirl. You just see a one. Or what is that, a line? What is this set locations of? What does this look like, position of track lines? How do you see it through perception? How do you see that through perception? Okay. Is it offline communication setting? Just because that has two panels and everything is different? No, it's balanced. But you see it off balance. You see the perception location that needs to be fixed? Does it need to be fixed? No. But to you it does, because it doesn't make any sense. If this is one panel, but this is another panel, but it's bigger. There's a reason why they're in order. Everything's in chronological order. So in adaptation lines, it's a ladder. It's a ladder, but you have to understand panels. So in subscription and definition of this, definition of this, definition of this, and definition of this, right away. They're all different, but they're balanced. But you see this as off balance. So in track communications, this is how you see things, how everything should be. But that's not how it works inside applications. You see what I mean? You got to get out of the box. You're inside a box, you got to jump out. Right? Then you look back in, but you don't go in until you understand you first, right? And then you go in, and then you round, you get to know yourself more and more through outer line position location operation. Okay? Okay. So this is just the basic line strength locations, how you perceive your realities, guys. All right, so we're going to go into the cortex line setting. 2 tunnels, line rotation, and interference. Okay, track communication line settings. Cloud lines, high rotation surface location to its setting. Looks like a tree, right? But the center calculation setting is the center position operation of surface location to its placebo, right? Now, directing lines of panels, router, line rotation, center line calculation setting, high center interference. So the correlation setting to your brain line is actually rotating. It's never in still position. It's always an operation line system. Track communication this way, track communication this way, track communication that way. Okay, it's always moving. So symbolizing track communications comes out of line saving. Comes in graph line calculation of video graph screen location. Whoa, look at that, video graph line. Setting track communication lacing lines, high position location at 3 lines of calculation. Okay, So setting track communications, position locations, line setting. Okay. Eye receptors, lines, the string location system. See the eyes? All right. So how it sees line direction is right over left and left over right in set location. Okay, and that's how it sees lacing lines of communication. So don't get confused with that. Once it sends the balance, sets a core line setting, direct signal, plasma seals, high calculation setting, direct signals, travels out in line rotations, and for set location line setting and direction. Okay? Okay. So truly understand the travel mechanism line setting, how it sets all track communication to a system. So it's the circulation rotations that you guys have to get into familiar with. Okay, how it gets in that setting. Okay, you have to get into that first. Because your provision locations, your eye lines are coming this way. Okay, they were this way, but you go this way and you can start over again. So it's got to, so the connection to the other tower sees the other side line, not this side, that's back. So you're coming into convergence from this way and coming forward. Your peripheral vision is coming in the opposite directions. And once it's in the center line, you understand how to use the correlates and set it to the lights of the sun, right over left and left over right. And that's how it perceives this cross signal set location system set to the platform. Right? Sends the information and leaves. So instead of communication, it's all direct signal. Now, when you get into direct signal, you really understand how it sets all calculation setting to its routers and routers and position location setting. Direct lines, there's the sun, position locations. Now you can separate the sun and the moon to communications. Right? But in that line interference, you have to understand the position to its flux capacitor, center line rotation. Okay? It's always in set position or track line. So you're always working how calculation line interference. So what is your body communication to its all levels of consciousness? Becomes all formation location to its pyramid set location line setting, all direct signal location of film strip, position location attraction. Okay? Now you know what your body is. It's a vessel communication, but it's a pyramid. All right. So in that direct signal, the convergent line settings opens all communication to its system. It puts positions at higher levels of travel lines. Now this is where you redirect the laser lines of beacon lights and travel calculation setting and direct signal to your system, to your thoughts, and position of traction. Okay, it travels line set location to its sun, right? Line signatures comes back in line rotation to center position location, scots its operation surface and set location. Look at that. It's all hologram. That's powerful stuff, isn't it? Okay. So the moon sets position of track lines. Moon comes in line right away, in line interference, in position locations. So why do we have the moon? To balance out emotional line setting. The sun can't do that. Now you guys are reaching higher level line settings now. This is a proper location of infusion. Directing line signatures to line and positions, the moon comes in tractions and goes to the opposite line direct signal and set location to its setting and high setting. Look at that. Look how powerful that is. And that's all levels in space. Okay? Do you see how it comes in all communication to its setting? The conversion location of lacing lines of communication string lines, guys. All through your pyramid set line condition of placebo, cortex of your thoughts. Look how powerful that is. All right. So in that direct signal, you have to understand how to coordinate line, center line, position, echo, sonar line, string locations. Now the conception line center locations, your actual ears are discs. They're routers and routers. So it's like a record player. But the center position location line settings and high position of two atoms. So the actual ears are atom line settings. Two track lines and communication. Right? Those are your ears. Sonified line interference and set position of three track communication lines of setting. Okay? Directing line set locations of pi. Okay? Setting track communications in the opposite direct location system in position of track communication. Okay? Now, once you get into that lines, you come into all calculation line settings and position. So getting into that position locations, it automatically comes into what? Let's go through the line rotation and center interference, phase recognition, set location, setting directions, right? You automatically come into echo chambers, sonar lines, and directions. So in that line interference, position location, here's the moon, and sun is over here, and it's at position locations. Now, the direct signal line interference, the sun and the moon have to understand each other first. Setting communications, they're always communicating. So if you're not communicating, they're communicating. It doesn't matter. What matters, do you understand what they're saying? Okay. So in that line rotations, they're always in communications. So in that line interference, they come into triangulations on levels of a solar sail. Okay. So that's set up in the high line rotations. There's the ground. There's the pyramid line rotation, setting position, and track communication. Now in that set calculation lines, height and positions. So your thoughts go onto the pyramid of its film strip location. Ooh. Ooh. Isn't that interesting? You are a projection of your life. So understanding that, you understand the 12 line center to stream locations that comes into your line centers of seconds, minutes, and hour line position. The track communication lines opens up the elixir, cosmic plane, serpent fire, and set location line setting of a set location. Now, in that direct signal line interference, it opens up all calculation to a setting and directions, right? Signifies all track lines of the echo chambers and the sonar line rotations. So your actual ears become sonar line streams and line connections of portals of activation. Both side line stream locations. Okay? That's why you have ears in position of operation. Okay? So they come like, they're connecting line interference. We call them stereo chips. Now, a stereo chip is a unified high line rotations of a router line interference of a woofer. Johnny would know what that is in set location of travel lines. Megahertz line position on travel connection system. The auto line signals and high center interference, all position locations comes in its position location of travel settings. Track communications, back and track and communication line directions. Okay? You have to understand the importance, how this works, and all of it positions to your pyramid line conditions. So your full body is turning into what? A pyramid. All right. So we're back on track communications. Welcome back, class. All right. So we're getting that center position of track lines. Once you converge line settings and high interference into high position location, high center, opens up all more signals location system, right? So the whole process here is the convergence of the brain has to understand the activity. It's connecting line interference of the STEM stel. Now that STEM is a line position to its operation surface that sets the core lines at high positions and setting into sectors, vectors, and quads to its relation. Now the correlation has a relationship on its own through its connecting high center position to its atoms. So it's like putting one atom in line interference and two track communication setting, open up one portal in communication system. So the brain of the convergence has to really understand how to get into that set locations through its pyramid of its conscious locations of its body. The body becomes all levels of conscious location line setting, which is no longer a dream. The dream lines leave the system locations, all settings. It sets up beacon lights. When you guys are recharging, beacon lights are going up every single time through inhibitors. It's that position, right? These are the things you're not aware of. Okay. All right. So the pyramid comes in line rotation and direct signals into your plasma line streams. Okay. Direct line signify height, travel, position, location, and travel settings. Now, in that rotation interference, your geometric operation of design gets into correlations of balance into the sun through the moon. So the sun goes, sun communication line interference, location line, interval line, rotation general. Communication line stream interference is back in the core line, recognition highest position location of the moon. The moon is now in operation line, so location of the UFO is now set up as a location of plateau, position of attractions. We got a clock line interference, a high position location, high center, and position location, deep fragmentation line stream. The particle system location is now in set location of setting. That's the equation. Right? How many triangulation line stream locations do I communicate through setting that's in position location of seconds? Are you aware of these things or what you see through provision? So truly understand, it's not just the space line, it's the space in between of its division through its intelligence. It locates the center line interference of its beacon lights. So remember, directing line signals comes line center line positions at your avatar, travels line position location operation to service. Okay, now comes the line centers of scan lines at 3 set locations. Comes a travel line. Here's an XT1000 line. Come in streamline, scans position locations, all levels, and center position operation. Okay? So in that track communication opens up a level cycle line, calculation string lines, and position location in high setting. Now, in direct signal line comes into the earth line rotations and the line connections. Okay? There's the earth. Center direct line, center line interference, indirect signals. Plasma lines teleportate streamlines in 3 lines of rotation, surface, and set location of setting. Okay? Very complicated stuff. But if you look really, really close, you can see a boat. That's its solar sail. Okay? The creation of the sun and the moon creates its sail. You know why a sail is created? You know why it's created? What's in the center position location of a setting? And position location. What is actually traveling through the center core line calculation setting into the cubical square settings and location setting of triangulation lines of digital frame and position locations to its anagram, to the line connections to high center interference of its abstract location system to its application. It's an algorithm. It's a computer adaptation line setting. And that rotation surface in track communication to its system is truly understand how to see it through its nautical system locations. Okay? So in center communication line, this is what it is. All right? This is your Earth, right? That's your Earth. Okay, so this position locations, this is all it is. Triangulation, right? See? Earth, dimensional sail. Sending track lines, solar sail, right? So 2 line division line rotations. Left hemisync, right hemisync line position of center operation surface and correlation setting, direct signals to its position of traction. Okay? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, guys. Right? So try to understand the convergence of the set lines of your brain line is direct signal locations to its set location line setting that it's its higher self. So the actual Earth is the command center. You're standing on it, but it's a hologram. Now the conception line stream location has to understand the convergence of your sun and your moon through track location. And that's where you come into beacon lights. Where did that go? What did it signify? There's inhibitor line rotation interference. Track line conditions. Coaxing line, interference line, position location line center, 6 position location, not in 7, 7 is not in 8. 8 lost its signal, position location, put beacon lights back in track communication line. Everything I say is vibration. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your universe only connects to your line setting that's connected to all position location in your system that tracks its set location to its operation. So in that position locations, that's how it comes in. It's converged location to the sun and the moon line condition to its DOD, all through its Earth. Okay? All right. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Right? But now you understand the position location of the windows of the soul, which is just basically a frame that the brain has to understand through its calculation setting. Okay, so it's all about understanding the bandwidth, the broad and line set locations, the longitude and latitude, and all direct signal set location. So once it understands this way, and this way, it opens up its signal. Once it understands that, it comes into its flux capacitor set location. Whoa, look at that. Then it opens up the Earth line rotation. Whoa, look at that. Then it opens up the diamond core line setting. Whoa, look at that. Then it opens the travel communication line direct location to a system. Okay? Cloud formation line setting. Metabolical stream locations. Cubical line stream interference. Cloud line set location setting directions. It's all calculated and modified through northwest, south, and east through your diamond core line set location of traction. So the I-set receptor line stream location starts off with the box line. Theta line rotation position track line, right? But it comes into its diamond core. The I-central line has to be in diamond. You guys are in box, it's coming in diamond, okay? Once it comes in diamond, it shifts at line stream locations. So when you're looking at things in line, center line, in the center line operation at face reckoning setting, the actual hologram inside location is moving in all directions, okay? So if you understand the matrix stream location system, it's like an elevator that goes this way, elevator goes this way, elevator goes this way, elevator that goes this way in set position. Okay? all through a matrix box location setting. A lot of confusion, right? So the hydraulics line position location. See what I'm doing? That's every second, every minute, every hour. Now it's operating location setting and direct signal to location in your system. It's all through dimensional door lines, right? So if you understand the hydraulics, then you understand the mechanism, line, and rotation, position, location in the setting. Okay? Yeah, I know. So I just really want you to understand how to levels these position, location, and awareness lines. So box position, location, line, and interference. Okay? Calculation line, position, locations comes in setting. Okay, different rooms of sectors, correlation, high interference. That's what your clouds are. Different room settings, location to a system travels. Direct line to line interference to travel communication to a system. Okay. So when you are recharging your center position location, so lulls, tries to find the opening. There's the opening line rotations, right? Comes in line signal. Okay. All right. This is what happens when you recharge. So in line rotations, there's a room right here. Okay. Go into that room lines. You look at the formation line stream, you see correlation settings, direct signal, but you can't get into the next room because you understand the code setting. Oh, there's electrical fence line. There's a plasma stream location that's locked in signal. I can't use it. I got to go back and track line interference and reset location of line settings, high interference, deominate line rotations of dilation, reset the location of the clock lines, triangulation line interference, box position, triangulation, SPAC position operation. Now the communication line stream interference gets complicated, right? Because you're talking about the brain in all set position. Okay, so you haven't even entered line communication set, and you're just going through the hour lines location of you recharging location you're sleeping. So in direct signal, you got to go from here and find a way out in line rotation. That's all you're going through. You're just going through different rooms every night. And I say every night because it's the same night. Just on different frequency line streams. But you're doing it all through line position. So it gets more complicated when it gets lacing lines of communication of travel lines. 42 stream location of 3 settings. Okay, now once it travels lines, it's going to higher levels of sleep lines, higher levels of dimension locations, right? Comes in the box line sequences. Now that line interference, the sun comes in position locations, travels lines right through line position of operation. Okay, see the pyramid at the top location? Look at that, look how powerful that is. Right off the screen. Okay, so the reason why the light comes in and the reason why the moon comes in is the sun sets up the light with the hologram, the pixelation line interference, the lacing line communications, the balance position location of box lines, how calculation stream location setting to your avatar, which is the moon correlation setting direct sig location to ascending position location with its motion. Okay, all through track location. Isn't that amazing? That's how you protect your system. So in track communication line interference, you're protecting all rooms and line settings. All position of all dimensional door lines are different from each other because it's different line calculation of your thoughts. So each room is a different emotional line connection to your thoughts. And you don't see it through plateau because you don't understand what's going on through correlation. Platitude line rotation interference, 2 track communication line settings, all position location of 3 line rotation. Now, each position line settings, once you bring it in, you understand that you can see the dimensional doors. Okay, so it's kind of like when you're looking at Earth, okay, and you bring it up, you see it far, right? But when you bring it in, you see all the streets. That's all it is. So when you're sleeping, you have to learn how to zoom in. And that's how you come into its dimensional doors, okay? Dimensional door line centers has 2 panels and line rotation setting. Each dimensional door has a signature line stream. Now, direct to signal lines, it crisscrosses location system interaction. So this gets into all levels of signify. So once you get into that rotation line surface, you come into higher levels of equation lines. So you go in line positions of perimeters and parameters on seconds and minutes in the hour line rotation of center position. So the whole idea here, guys, is to understand you through your recharge lines. So it all depends in position location, how many hours you're going to sleep. Well, there's 4-line position location of 3 lines, a track communication, and a 4. 4 comes in line position, there's 4-dimensional door settings. So in track communications, 1 door, 2 door, 3 door, 4 door. That's 4 hours right there. Okay? In one central line of a cubical stream location of center line calculation settings in all direct signal to its modification system, that's all in triangulation lines of a cubical line screen in a line rotation to its setting. Okay? Everybody's going, what's going on now? This is too complicated. Well, complicated is good. So when you bring it in, you zoom it in, you start to see the direct line setting. So if you see one lacing line, you bring it in, and this is what you see. You actually see what's inside. You actually see what's inside. Okay? And you bring it in, 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 bring it in. When you bring it in, it separates, and then you see the atoms. Oh, look at this. Ooh, this is cool. Look at that. It's all separated, but it's the atoms of the line signature stream location. So once you get into that screen, see, the thing is, the brain accepts its line stream location of the cortex. The cortex is this mystical valve. That's that location line setting. So when you guys get into a meditation graph, you're going into your mantras, right? Padiyam. Ma, 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 ma. That's a beacon light, right? So it signifies the line centers of the earth, and it's always repeating cycles. 2 lines of track, 3 lines of position locations in the line calculation, in the lines of box, and the line calculations of pi. Track lines of 2-dimensional lines of 3 set locations of setting. Okay? So once you understand that, it gets louder and louder and louder. Ma, 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 ma. It adds. But it repeats. Why? Because it's communicating to every planet line side location in your solar system. That's why it has a 2-division line rotation of center position of operation. Okay? So it's going through a repeating cycle. And once it goes to that location setting, you come into different sonar, different recognition of time state location of your thoughts. So your thoughts are creating the beacon lights. If there's a pause in between, that means it's jump scarred to another planet. Okay. And that direct signal line interference, you got 1 planet line rotation, another planet position location, 3 line setting location of 4. Now, this basically gets into dictation. Dictation stream location line setting is all about understanding how to set a position location as all line setting. Echo chamber to that planet, right? Planet comes back, line set location sends the sun to your light signal, right? Comes in line interference, position track communication. Now the sun and the moon is line interference, but the position location of the sun and moon are going back extremely fast to location setting and direct signal to its location to its beacon light. So the beacon light sets position track lines, electrical line communication lines, and infusion. Triangulation line and solar sail. Now, in that line rotation interference, 2 planet line rotation interference. Each planet line set location has its own sun, has its own moon, has its own universe, has its own galaxy, but it has a lot more position location track line. It has its own matrix location setting of a cubical line position location to its operation surface. Okay? Opens up track lines of its own sun to its own moon, opens all line position location track lines and all operation surface and track communication. Okay? See the intelligence? See the eyes? Eyes. You see it? Top of the head. Oh, this is getting exciting. So what you're doing is basically setting up beacon lights of high stream line set location of face recognition and identification. That's the importance locations when a beacon light comes in your inhibitors. Inhibitor line rotation lines of 6, 7 lines of 7, 8, position of 9. Now the box line set location system is 10. 10 box lines of set location of 11. 11 streams lines of 12. In divine line rotation as center position location operation surface. Okay? So 6 streams this line center and position a half pipe. We all that know correlation setting. But in line rotation, if you want more levels of light, if you want higher line calculation setting, and say, bring on the light, Sun comes into a higher calculation string line, a higher position track line in communication. Okay? You're always in that direction. That's set locations. Okay? So I really want you to understand how this all works to a set position of track line. Okay? To all set location. All right, directing signals, modification line settings. In travel communication, back in this frame line setting. Okay? It's amazing how you really understand what it is. Okay? How you perceive it through your realities. Okay? Okay, so frame line settings, we go back in line rotation interference. Now the track communication opens up all levels of your conscious string locations. Center direct line settings opens all levels of placebo cortex string locations into higher levels of plateau. In line calculations, high line position location of higher position location of dimensional door settings. See? Steps. Done by equation. Very powerful set locations. Yeah. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's getting more complicated, isn't it? Trying to understand more line settings. See, the thing is, you really have to understand how this all works, guys. I'm just showing you all position locations, basic foundation line settings, how it sees everything through set location to its hologram set location setting. How everything is created through hologram. Okay? So, getting that line rotation, you come in this frame line conditions. You can see the face recognition, right? All through traction. Okay. So you're always in frame, always in face recognition. So that's how you've seen things now. But you have to understand the beacon lights to all calculations to its system, to its planetary surface that's connected on a setting. So when you're getting sonar or echo line, center line, and position track lines, you're getting numbers, letters, shapes, and symbols and set location lines. It's sending back information. Or it's like, remember, it's a straight line signal, monotone line rotation, and it's a straight line, right? Frequency line change location alpha. Right? Or you come in a delta. Okay? So it's all carefully modified how you really understand that. And that comes into contact where it comes in this line, graph lines, and position location of Vega, where it goes. Okay? So connecting lines of circle line rotation interference, sending direct location of zero lines, setting perimeters and parameters lines of perception locations. 1, 2, 3 lines at highest end location of 6 and 6 over pi. Okay? And so we all have to understand how to pick up the beacon light settings because it's all calculated and modified. It comes in monotone. So in that line interference, if it's a low frequency line stream, it's beta. Okay? And you'll pick it up through frame line. To understand what you're feeling is what you're seeing, but it's all calculated high interference of where the convergence of your activity is instead of location of the set. It's all calculated to your stem that's connected to the cell. Cell has to recognize all calculated line stream interference. And yes, every cell is reacting to everything that you do, see, hear, touch, and taste, and feel. So we're all in that direct signal to a set location setting and all setting locations. And so we all understand how to use the Schumann resonance. So if you get a track communications and a UFO comes in line signal, you have to learn how they go through laser lines, graph line conditions, because that's all your space line rotation is, a laser communication, right? It doesn't cross signals. It doesn't float. It levitates. So if it's off position location, it has to get back in ground line. It has to get back in line signature. It has to get back in line position to its operation surface. Okay? So if you understand that track communication line settings, everything works in a round line set location of its perimeters. So in that direct signal, try to understand how to use the beacon light set location of your satellites. 2 beacon light stream lines, a high and center lines of 3 rotation settings. Okay? Directing lines of sonar. 1 positions, alpha line, there's a delta communication setting, and there's a mega line rotation surface. Okay? Setting up signals. So it comes in sun, comes back into the moon, comes high center interference of triangulation. Look at that. Look how powerful that is. Right? So the core system changes directions, seconds per line setting. In set position location of plateau. You got to get grounds with your ears and line rotation to its sonar to its echo chamber communications. See that? Positional plateau? Look at that. See the intelligence? You see the intelligence. Please tell me you see the intelligence. See? See the eyes? See the eyes? See the face? See? Right here. Hoo-ah! Woo! We having fun yet? So that's all it is in set locations. You're always in frame. So your avatar is always in instruction. It's always in its intelligence. There's no way possible you can't have your face recognition to everything that you do through structure. You know why? Because it's your brain. Convergence and line setting to high position attraction. All right. So I had to laugh because it's funny, right? That's gone through equation. I had to get rid of that because very high line. So directing signals is a lot of energy track communications, how you get in position to your magnetic field lines. The stratospheres, line interference, electromagnetic lines of panels, high track line conditions of window frames, track communication settings, and all direct location system in true setting. Right? So that's all it is. The longitude of the activity line interference is coming back in set location system to where it is, where its conscious location is setting. All through its memory. That's it. Frame communication lines, a 3-line rotation surface, right? So you calculate in line rotations. What do you see in position track lines? A. There's an A there, right? There's an A right here. There's an A right here. A. Everything geometry creates its own setting. That's an A, right? A travels line set locations, block line center and high position locations, 3-line position location settings, right? Now you set a line position of V line, it comes out position location to a system. This is all track elevation line interference of a flywheel. Directing line center location, line settings, and high center position locations operation. Okay? Everything is created. Everything is created through structure and line settings. All adaptability line rotation is automatically modified in its position location to its intelligence. Its intelligence. Its intelligence. Everything is a formation of intelligence. Okay. So understanding that. When I got into the line stream, I was trying to understand what a box is in position location, high interference, and perception. Okay. Right. There's the road. Right. Oh, here's a car coming. Car doesn't want to be there. It's going to travel out. Oh, no, I think I'm going to go higher now. Oh, let's go into triangulation lines of 3 set location split anomaly. Setting track lines of Fibonacci lines, which streams, 3-line center line position location operation surface, ground line operation line calculation setting indirect signal location to its pyramid. See, it's complicated stuff because you don't understand your set location, your geographical map of your setting. And that's all it is through track location. What is this through unit line rotations? It's a 30,000 XT1000 line unit, right? So in that line and high interference, travel calculation line centers, once you understand the beacon lights, everything comes into product with stream locations. Now in that direct locations, you come into inhibitors, that's in the back of your neck lines. So in that lines, it sets off line lines. And once you get the signal high calculation, it goes to the 12 streamlines, which is your solar system, and then it comes back to you, right, through a different signal. Okay, so whether you understand that or not, you have to understand the alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega, gamma lines of radiation, sigma, zeta, line rotation to a setting. You start with those set location settings, right? Because there'd be a line strip going by, right? Or a hydraulic spin line, right? All levels of information line sending comes to use the track location of beacon lights. So set position locations, all levels, beacon light communication, 3-line streams. Yeah, you're in the center position location operation trying to understand what it is in position location operation. Okay, Once you understand it, you scan it through 3 signature stream location of center lines of set position to its space lines in between. Now, in that direct line center interference, the sun automatically comes in and protects your system, the location of your system. So, once you understand that, the sun comes to you through the moon, right? And it sets up high position location and protection string location settings and directions, right? But if you don't, do you see that move by itself? That's wild. So in that line rotation interference, you have to really how to recognize everything that you set position to your beacon lights. Beacon light travels its line set locations in perimeter miles, then the mile line set locations. Miles on end. Now the inline streamline sets a new course, which is a new route. Now this is a station lines of interface lines to a UFO line rotation setting and location setting to your box, which is masculinity, or your triangulations. Remember, box is male, triangulation is female. So you're not dealing with set locations of box and triangles anymore. Okay? So it's a box surface in 3 set location, and a triangulations and a 3 line set location of point system. Okay? So there's a reason why it's center line connectized system, right? Because they have to understand the correlation to balance, position of track lines, how it comes in the hit conceptions of females and the hit conceptions of males in set location. Okay? Different in setting line and rotation to set location and setting directions. So 3 sets of anomalies in position of 6 and line position of 9 sets position of 10 in set location. Direct lines of box line sets position of 1 line and 1 line and 1 line and 3 set location of travel. Okay. Now, you really have to understand the 3 central line calculation setting in position of the sun. Sun comes back in traction in position, location, and protection. See the intelligence? So there's a reason why you guys have conceptual streams. Now, conceptual stream is basically understanding the stringing of the core. It recognizes the calculation of the placebo of its thoughts that creates the high set location line centers of velocity that sets up the volume of track locations. This angle points to set location or acceleration at Machs. The Mach signal line interference is all traveling to its communication setting. This redirects signals to your panels. Once you understand the beacon lights of travel communication to your eye lines or anything through eye division location to your ears. The center communication line interference is all calculated to modify how you set position of track communication to your settings. Open up the signals, open up the panels, open up the beacon lights, and set a track communication line interference. Once the beacon light has a full cycle through a solar system line connected system, once it goes through its core of its string line set location settings, it comes back in lines and protects you through the sun and the moon line rotation. Okay? And then it comes back in another signal. Back and forth, 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 back and forth. But the back and forth is going forward. It's not going back. It's moving forward, 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 forward. So what I mean by back, you understand the calculations of direct and redirect. That's all it is. Direct, redirect, direct, redirect. But you're not moving back. You're going forward because your provisions of your brain is saying otherwise. It's saying I'm convergent location is always going forward. I never go back. If I'm going back, it's because I don't understand something. That's confusion of location triangulation, right? If you send a communication lines of triangulation line shifts, send a position location of high center interference, directing the line center location of station shadows of the triangulation, right? Same communication line comes in and line position locations operation. Okay, so that's where the position of the sun and the light is coming from the triangulation. There's always lights and shades and shadows and everything that you draw in set location. Okay, so that's how the moon sets up a beacon light line string location to its water of its containment sys locations. Very powerful stuff. Okay. So light, shades, and shadows really understands the direct and redirect line set location rotation surface. It's a triangulation lines of a spot system. Now the spot system opens all triangulation to its line setting, all track to its light, shade, and shadows. Okay, indirect signal. Modification of consoles, calculation of bracket lines of interference. Setting track communication lines of bracket settings. Okay, in 3 set locations of 4 set locations. Now, 0 operational lines of a diamond core line, shift line, travel communications, right? Directing lines, calculation line, and direct signal, and position locations, top of the end lines, into your pyramid lines of rotation surface, and triangulation of film strip and set position. Okay, so this comes line interference, 4-line signature stream location and diamond core line. Okay, direct lines of panels, straight down, opens up the ground line and center line interference. So you're always connected to your earth line set location your higher self. So in that direct signal, it sets up all calculation settings. So once it understands the modification of its sound, I understand the track communication lines of light and line rotation, the beacon light communication lines, and in position of space now. Great. So in that line interference, the sun comes into a light signature streamlines and higher levels of division in a higher calculation line position and protects you through all calculations to a stream. Okay? Which means it protects its earth, protects its body, which is its pyramid. Do you understand what's going on here, people? Do you understand the process, how we use beacon lights? So in that line interference, beacon lights are used for position locations in a high setting through UFO. Now, an XT1000 line stream location comes in setting, directing lines of panel communication 3 lines, opens all signal lines of communication setting, and opens all position location open frequencies and line rotation of the system. Now, in modification, the earth line rotates the surface that sets position to its umbrella, that sets its dimensional sail, that locks its location system and its computer operation. Okay? So it swirls line center line interference. You have a galaxy shift line stream, setting direct signals of magnetic line rotation surface and triangulation. Now, in that direct signal line interference, sets off calculation lines of ground line. Center position locations, this is where you have to get into the mind of the grounds of balance to set the position of track line. Danielle. Okay? So Danielle, your position location is root and router. It's got to be bounced to the grounds. Okay? So that's what you're working with, your earth line rotation, surface, and gravitation line setting. Gravity is the most powerful thing in your body line conception. Okay? So you have to understand how to balance out the scales of your earth. That's all it is. This is your earth. That's it. So if it's here in line rotation, you got to put it back in balance. If it's here, you got to put it back in balance. If it's here, you got to put it back in balance. Okay? Yeah, but that's all it is. You just got to understand how to set up the communication settings. So the most important thing is you can't set up beacon lights and emotional line interference because it changes the ground lines of its gravitational pull in line rotation of the Grothians, and the Grothians set line communication setting and directions locations off system. So your off lines and your spin line, your earth line rotates its system location to its setting, off position. That's your earth right now. Okay? Now, if it flips over in line rotation position, it's going to resurface down in line settings. So that's what happens, guys. All right, so you have the earth line rotation. Let's say it spins lines of rotation there. It's upside down, right? That means it's a triangulation line setting high interference, sets up a cloud line change lines in high position case to its black hole. So the black hole sucks it in line rotation to its setting and track communication. Okay? Hooah! How does everybody feel about that line connection? You understand the importance of location of what your earth is now and why it's so important to understand to keep the balance? People are saying that gravity is the weakest point of line setting. No, it's the most powerful point because you're standing on it. But see, the thing is, what you're standing on is what you're perceiving, is what you're seeing. Are you seeing it through a hologram or are you seeing it through the grounds? If you're seeing it through a hologram, you're not seeing. So you don't understand the gravitation. You're levitating, you're floating. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's what you're doing, right? Then you go, whoa. So you're a teeter-totter, you're scale, right? This is the earth, right? So the earth has to be level, right? It's got to be level. If it's not level, if this same motion line interference comes off, it's going to stay there. That's a glitch. Now, if it stays there, what happens to you through your body reaction? That's what happens set location line center. Stable, right? Hands got to be stable. So it's pressure that releases line setting. So every time you hold your hand up, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. So in that line interference, the more you put negative line rotation, it pushes it down. And it's hard to push up because there's more pressure. Right? So that's why it's so important to keep the vibrational ground lines of your line connections of your Schumann resonance in balance of scale. Okay? So there's so many signature line settings and off position track lines. Now, just because you're off position location doesn't mean you're in a negative cycle. It's all calculation of confusion. You get confused or you get lost or you forgot something, it's all calculated and modified, but you're automatically in a black hole of set location. Automatically. Because the thing is, black holes are created through perception lines of the cortex lines of its matrix. So in that line calculation setting, a black hole is not a black hole until it understands its system, why it became a black hole. And that's all core line setting to your setting that you created through negative cycle of set locations. Because it's connected to high interference locations of galaxies and universes that come together through setting. Okay? So in that line calculation setting, a black hole basically sucks you in position. It takes you right down in line rotation. Right? You can't get out. You get lost in transition, you get lost in mind. That's where you come into line interference of high position location and confusion location settings. Right? So to get out is understand the communication to its platform. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now you're out. Right? It's like Huber. What happens if it sets line communication to a wrong lines of a block line? And it gets back in line, right? So you get a lifespan of 3, right? Right? So that's what it is. It's knowing exactly how to go to the next level, right? Of set locations, right? It's understanding the gain center lines of you in set location. That's all it is. But the simulation is complicated because the simulation is connected to your settings. When it's connected to your settings, it's connected to all formation location in your system. So it's calculating line interference. You're looking at this position location. It's just a film strip location. That's all it is. Each line communications. All right, 6 hours of sleep. Next in line interference, 4 hours of sleep. Okay? Track communication lines and film strip line set locations. You're going through 12 signature string locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? That's 12 signature string locations into line settings that comes in line rotation to your pyramid of your thought rotation surface. So that's why you have to understand how to use the beacon lights. Pyramid sets up beacon lights only if you understand your settings through the location system. Track communication line centers to your Earth, and the line connects to your avatar set location setting directions. So your avatar is up here in line rotation and setting. Okay? Scanning ground lines right here, which is your connection to your higher self. Okay? Higher self, avatar. Okay? So that's how it goes through meter. It goes through meter. It goes through scale. So if you understand that, you understand the cerebral. The cerebral is a dimensional door. So you have to understand how it calculates and modifies when you go into higher line position and track lines. It gets more complicated because now you understand more levels of the geometric map, the geological system, the geometry line settings, and the track communication system. Right? So it's kind of like the geology of you, the architect of you, to get to one location to the next. And I was like, how can I do this line interference? I slept 6 hours line rotation interference and track communication system, but I still don't understand what happens to formation, which means you can't decipher what just happened 6 hours. So in that frame, it gets confusion. So that's location line interference. Soon as you get lost in signal, black hole right away. Now that doesn't mean anything bad. It's just what it means is that the connections to the levels of the activity string line doesn't recognize the position location of program. The set of communication line interference of travel calculation line sending has to understand the track communication system. And this comes into all line positions to alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega, and line conditions zeta, gamma lines, height, center interference, radiation lines, set location, all levels. Truly understand how to use it is provision locations when you go into recharging. Okay? because it's an open signal. You're in an exposed line setting. You're in a triangulation lines. You're in a compound line interference. So in that line position location, this is what it is. If you don't put your fields up in high position location of track lines, you are exposed to everything. And everything sees around you, right? Oh, there's a triangulation interference, location line interference that doesn't force field. Let's get them. You're exposing yourself. So don't do that. It's an open field. All right. So in position location, try to understand the securities, the barriers, the parameters, and online rotation of your system. Okay. So okay, we modify. So what are you protecting? You're protecting your Earth, people. That's what you're protecting. Intelligence setting, when you go to sleep, that's them. And they come to you through face recognition. 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 Okay? Now, in that line interference, you protect your system, all position line connections. Now, when you protect lines, they go out, they go out, they go out, they go out, because they know who you are, and then you're protecting your system more. They won't come back. Okay? I know. Well, it's not about being risky. It's just trying to understand, am I drinking this water right, or am I drinking this water wrong? Is there a right or wrong to drink this water? No. It's your determination of what changes its setting. So your interpretation saying, okay, so you drink from this side, you never drink from that side. That's pretty logical. Why would you drink from that side? Could you spit it all over so it's not going to down your throat, right? That's logistics. Pretty simple, pretty standard, pretty easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So is there a reason why it's on this side and not that side? Yes. Simplifies, right? There's a reason why this is not over here. Because, gotcha. So everything is made for a purpose for you to use. All right? It's how to use it through your intention. That's right. That's what it is, Heather. Yes. Set your intentions to all settings in application your systems. Okay. So just wanted to show you what you guys are coming into. Higher level line settings. You have to really understand how to use the holographic locations. You got a bracket communicates line centers of a box line rotation. Right? You don't see the numbers there, but they're there. You see a blank screen. I don't see a black screen. I see everything in application, which is already done. Right? You don't see, because you can't see what you can't see. Understand what it is in track communication. This is what a inline rotation position track line settings. All track communication of 4 lines and set location of 3 line rotation surface and track communications. Okay? That's the complete system. Now, if you want to add the frame, you change the perception location of your activity setting. Okay? You change. You change. You change it goes to higher levels of division. Higher levels of dimension. Now, if you want to lock this signal and stay within that program line setting, you bring in the sun that protects its set location to its system. Okay? Because that's what you're doing. You're creating, but you're also protecting, right? Because if you don't protect system location, intelligence comes in. Ooh, interesting. Takes over your system. Okay? Way beyond recognition. Way beyond recognition. Yeah. So how are we doing so far? By getting a better understanding the importance of your tool set line settings and how important it is to really understand you through provision, how to use all levels of adaptive goal line rotation to your settings, how to use an all calculation to a system inside position to your mind of consciousness. Consciousness is just the basic rounds, guys. But you got to go into fruition location settings. Baby, child, teenager, adult. See, when I got into the activation stream, I was trying to figure out, wow, this is intelligence. This is interesting. And I'm looking at it and I'm trying to understand what it is. It communicates back with me. Yeah. Once you understand that, then you understand the process, how this all works. But this is about understanding how to use it through the mind of consciousness. Everything around you is consciousness of its own setting, of its own GOD, of its own design, of its own space and time. So it's there for you whenever you need it. Okay? So I think that's good. 1 lines, 120. Boom. Balance and balance line rotation setting and track communication setting. Bring you guys back and set locations of 10 tracks. Done. All right. Setting track communication line. See you guys in 5. Adios.